Hey guys, and welcome back to Mojo Homestead. I am working on canning green beans. What we do with those to preserve them is we just can them. So green beans are one of probably my favorite canned vegetables that we do. I grew up with having a lot of green beans and having fresh, like garden green beans. So this is a great way for us to have fresh outside of the summer. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the different ways that we do preserve produce here. We have beans that we do. We have a lot of peppers that we end up having to preserve just to get through the year. What else do we do? Pickles or cucumbers, tomatoes, squash. That's the other one. And then a lot of our berries and grapes. So with the berries and grapes, a lot of those will just get turned into jam or jelly. And we do freeze some of the berries, like the blackberries and stuff, to be used in other things like smoothies and stuff like that. Our kids really like smoothies. And so that's a great way to preserve those for that. The squash, a lot of times we will just freeze it, but this year we got a freeze dryer. So we are trying some out with the freeze dryer. Basically the biggest difference is, other than drying it out, is it preserves a lot more of the nutrients in there. All right, so our freeze dryer is going right now. So if you hear a little bit of humming in the background, that's probably what it is. As I was saying, the freeze dryer, why we like that one so much is you can preserve a lot more of the natural nutrients that is in the food. We also have been doing the goat's milk in there, eggs, and we are currently doing vegetable stock. We're gonna see how the vegetable stock turns out. I'm really curious because that's a lot of water. And basically what the freeze dryer does is it removes all of that water. The milk and the eggs we do so that we have it during the winter time. The milk, we dry our goats off during then just so that we can have the holidays free from having to milk and everything. And then the eggs, chickens just naturally really drop off on egg laying when we get into the winter months. And so we're hoping that we can have, I don't know that we'll have enough to get all the way through, but at least supplement a little bit during those months that we're not getting those things. Also, we have done some of our vegetables in there. We've done the peppers and squash. So we'll see how those turn out. Our dehydrator is mainly this year used for peppers and a lot of the hot peppers. We do also do some of the sweet peppers in there, but a lot of the hot peppers it will grind down to make some more into like a powder form or spices or stuff like that. We actually just got through doing our cayenne peppers in there and ground about half of them down into like cayenne powder, and then the other half we did red pepper flakes with those. Both of those we go through easily in the year, but we do get enough to get through the year. Some of our poblanos will end up getting dehydrated just for preservation's sake. And like I said, the jalapenos, we typically end up either pickling those or letting them go red, turning them into smoked jalapenos or chipotles, and then grinding that into a kind of chipotle powder to use in cooking. The squash, we freeze a lot of it. This year we're kind of experimenting with freeze drying it and seeing how that does. The freeze dryer, it's new to us this year. This is the first year we've had it, so we're still trying to figure out how to do that and what's gonna work best for us in that freeze dryer. I need to get back to these beans. So the beans, like I said, we can those. That's about the only way that we do those. Just can them. They're pretty easy for us to do that, and so that works out well for us. Tomatoes, we cook those down and make a sauce out of those. We actually, I forgot, we started freeze drying those this year. So our hope is that we can take that freeze dried powder and then control, how liquidy we rehydrate it. So I'm thinking that maybe it'll give us a lot more flexibility with like doing tomato paste out of it. And then if we need a little bit more liquidy for just doing tomato sauce, we can do that. And then if we want to make it more of like tomato soup, you just add a little bit more water. So we'll see. And then some of it we do just can and put away in the jars, ready to go. Okra is the other thing that I have not mentioned. And you know, if you've watched some of our other videos, you may have seen that our okra crop is, we experimented, didn't do well, so we got a late crop in and we're still waiting. Those are about to start flowering. And so we'll get some okra this year, but I'm not sure really like how much we're gonna get. That's still yet to be determined. But typically we just freeze that. It's really easy. We chop it up, freeze it, and then we can pull it out, saute it, fry it, whatever we want to do. That's a pretty easy one to preserve. The other thing that we do with our hot peppers, and really have done more of this year, is do hot pepper jelly and also hot sauce. Hot sauce that's kind of our fun new one that we've started doing, and really excited about it. Really good flavor. It's fun because you can mix different hot peppers to get kind of a different flavor profile and also heat level. But that's been something that's been a lot of fun that we've really enjoyed doing this year and already using. We go through a lot of hot sauce in our family in a year because we just really like it. Use it on several different things, mainly tacos. I've got 4 Mexican food lovers in this house. I mean, I like it, but I'm talking like borderline obsession. So we do a lot of Mexican nights here, and that hot sauce gets used for that. Cucumbers, I feel like that's a given, you know, with a lot of them, pickles, relish, stuff like that. And we go through so much of that. I feel like that's one thing in this house we can't ever get enough of. And so that's really easy. Once some of the other stuff like brassicas start coming in, any of our extra broccoli, we will probably just blanch and freeze that. The collards, typically we just eat them as they come in, but I'm kind of hoping that we have extras this year so that we can blanch them, freeze them, and put them away. That way we won't do any canning on that. If you guys can, you know like how valuable the jars are getting, especially the lids. They're hard to find. And so that's one thing that we've really had to start being a lot more, I'm not gonna say cautious, but wise about the use of those and how we're using them and what we're using them for, which is why a lot of the stuff we started putting in our freeze dryer, like the tomato sauce and stuff. Anything that we feel like we can freeze dry, we do that instead of canning it. Anything that really has to be canned, like pickles, relishes, jellies, those type things, that's what's been getting our jars this year. So hopefully all that will start to turn around. I don't know, but you know, getting more jars, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's also showing us that by freeze drying, we're actually saving a lot of space in our pantry, especially if it's something that we're kind of just powdering up, like the milk or the eggs and stuff like that. Huge space saver in that sense. So one thing that we did last year, and I would say kind of a warning to anybody that may be just getting into preserving, we were like super cautious about everything that we were doing and canning and trying to save food, that we actually never really opened it up. It just sat in the pantry. And then we finally were like, okay, we gotta start eating this stuff. So I would say don't can and then put away and be afraid to use it. For us, it's not really something that we put away and save for a rainy day kind of thing. We're learning to get more in the mindset of, you know what, we're putting this away so that we can have it when it's out of season. And so we have been doing a better job of accessing that stuff and using what we do and what we have been putting away. Obviously, we're not opening up cans like through the summertime when a lot of those things are coming in out of the garden. We're eating those fresh. And we're just still learning about how much we need to get through a year, and really also how to pace it out so that we're not shorting ourselves with it, but we're also being wise about using it and making it last for a year. So thank you guys for joining me and listening about the different ways that we preserve some of our food. We will go into much more detail about some of these things in future videos. Hope you have a great week and be blessed.